Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, I want to apologize for being a little MIA for a little bit. I took 3 weeks off of work. We went on a family vacation. We did a little road trip to Arizona, and the rest of the time I just enjoyed relaxing at home. But I'm back with another video for you guys. This week's video is going to be discussing how I survived nursing school. And I emphasize on the I because there are tons of videos out there on tips and tricks to survive nursing school, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about my personal experience and how I survived nursing school being married and with kids. Today, I'm also going to have a little special guest. My husband, Alex, is going to join us because he's going to talk about his perspective as being the financial provider, the number one support person for me, who I was a student nurse, because it's a little bit different on how he adapted versus how I adapted and how we saw things. So if you're interested in watching, stay tuned. Okay, so just a real quick intro about myself in case you guys don't know. My husband and I were both 16 when we had our first child, and we had a beautiful baby girl named Lisette. We both got married, and then 4 years later we had my son, Alejandro, who was 9 months old. So Lisette was 4, and Alejandro, or Güero, as we call him, was 9 months old when I started the nursing program. I was about 20 years old when I started the nursing program. So our life was a little bit challenging when I became a student nurse. You know, when we went to the first day of school and they told us, all these things to expect. And it kind of prepared us, but at the same time it didn't, because you don't know how hard it is until you are in the nursing program yourself. We had to make a lot of sacrifices personally, as well as a family. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about here today. It's kind of like why you did what you did to get into the nursing program, and the things you're going to have to go through and deal with. But at the end, it's all going to be rewarding. So let's talk about the first topic. All right, guys. So this is my husband, Alex, if you've never met him. So our first topic that I want to talk to you guys about is sacrifice. On our first day of nursing school during orientation, remember they talked to you, like they bring all the family and all the kids into nursing school orientation and pretty much tell you what to expect. What do they tell you?
So when I don't know who the person was that spoke, but whoever the person in charge was basically said that from this point on forward, you're not going to have, whether it's your mom, your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, for the next 2 years. So that it's going to be very, very tough, and that we should expect to not have the normalcy that you normally have, because like I said, this isn't just going to school, it's a whole program. So just to be like ready. And I laughed because I thought it was a joke.
And it wasn't a joke. When you're in nursing school, you literally are in school all day long. Like I would have lectures and then clinicals from like 6 a.m. to like 4 p.m. You're literally putting in 8-hour days at school, and then when you come home, you have all these papers to write, you have care plans, you have all these exams, clinical exams to study for. So you're studying another 4 to 6 hours at home.
Yeah.
We're talking about like 12 to 14-hour days where you're just gone. Like I could be at home, but I wasn't home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was ready for that part of it. I don't think I was ready for that part of it. We sacrificed a lot. Social life was one of the sacrifices. Our friends, we're 20 years old. Our friends are at that point where they're like going to trips, going to Cabo, going to Cancun in Mexico, or they're going to all these clubs and parties, and everybody's about to turn 21, and they would invite us, and we'd be like, I can't. So it was a sacrifice on that end, and then there was also a sacrifice financially and relationship wise. And I'm gonna let him talk about the financial part because I was 100% student nurse. I didn't work up until my last semester. I think I worked when I worked at the county as a student nurse.
Yeah,
The last year.
That was the last year.
The last year I worked. But up until then, I was 100% student nurse. So he had to do the majority of the finances. So.
Yeah. So financially, I mean, I was the only one working. At the time, I was working for a pizza restaurant, and I know it sounds like, oh, it's a pizza restaurant. How do you start off that? Well, I ended up getting into management, and eventually was promoted to having my own store. So I made okay money for being a private business. We had our own place. We had to pay rent, car payment. By the time she was in the nursing program, we had to get a second car because we needed it. Like, we could just not function with one car. Our schedules were too different. There was no way I could pick her up and take her. So we had to, bite the bullet and buy another car. So that means 2 car payments, 2 cars insurances, gas, and all that good stuff. It's very hard to be on one income, especially nowadays. Like, the whole dad works, mom stays at home is an old tradition that can't happen anymore. For expenses wise, you're having to make a lot more money now in order to have a comfortable life. So we did struggle financially. We didn't have the things that we wanted. Most of our furniture was hand-me-downs. If anybody had anything for free, we took it. Like, I didn't care. My couches all were mismatched. Our table was old. Like, everything that we could get for free, we took because we just couldn't afford it. We were comfortable, but at the same token, we didn't have, like I said, the luxuries. So it puts a lot on you when you can't give your kids what they want and you can't give your wife what she wants. So for me personally, that's where it kind of took a toll. And about a year, maybe 2 months into the program, granted now this is about 3-4 years of school total that she's been going to school, I finally just broke down and was kind of like, I had a conversation with her one night and told her, I don't think we can do this anymore. Like, I need you to quit school and I need you to get a job, because it was too much stress on me on some days. Some days were better than others, but it was very hard for me to be in that situation. And of course, I don't want to throw that on her, but it literally got to that point where I was so stressed out, I just told her to quit. Like, I need someone to help me with the bills. And she told me no. She said, this is what I want. This is what I'm dreaming of. This is what I've been working for. And she told me, she's like, I have a year left. Like, in a year, I'll be working. And when you're going through it, it's really hard to say, well, it's only 12 months. It's only going to be another 6 more months. But your bills don't stop for you. They keep coming. And so therefore, it was kind of hard for me to bite the bullet, but I trusted her. We had a conversation before she even became a nurse that, we were going to do this. I would follow just working and she would follow a career path. It was worth it in the end. And I will say that. And nowadays, with what we have, when people have said, you guys are so lucky, they don't know about the struggles that we had in the beginning. The house that we had was not furnished. And if it was, like I said, mix and match. What we have now was dedication, hard work, a lot of sacrifice. And she put a lot of years into the nursing program. Just in school in general, for her to be a nurse. And so for anybody out there, personally, if you're trying to be a nurse, just know there's going to be sacrifices. And for those family members or spouses of the people that are trying to be nurses, just know that it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. And I wish I can tell you it's easy to get through, because it's not. But in the end, would you rather give up 5 years of your life and kind of struggle a little bit for 50 or 60 more years of a great life? And I would do it again in a heartbeat, even if, I felt the way I felt at the time.
Yeah, so sacrifice, that's one of the big things that you're going to have to learn how to deal with. Like, literally sacrificing everything. Like, I remember people would invite us places and we just didn't have the money to go because I didn't work.
We have clothes to wear.
Yeah. So yesterday when I was planning on making this video, we were having a discussion of what things that we went through personally. And one of those things, even though it's hard, is that you have to be 100% committed and dedicated to school. So that may mean you have to either quit your job or cut down your hours. For me, I was very blessed because he was the sole provider that I didn't have to work. So you are going to have to sacrifice in that aspect as well. But with that being said, there are a lot of federally government assisted programs that I feel are out there that a lot of people don't know about. And he now wishes that we would have taken advantage of it, because we didn't take advantage of it. We struggled. That's why he felt overwhelmed. He felt like, oh my God, you need to go get it. You need to quit the program and just go start working. Had we taken the help that was out there, I think we would have been living a little bit more comfortably, and he wouldn't have had those pressures. So if you don't know, we live in California. So there are tons of programs. So if you have to quit your job, you are going to qualify for these programs because you're not making that income anymore. And that's where he comes in, because he can tell you a little bit about these programs, because this is where he works. This is where he works now. He actually helps people who need the help.
So my specific title is eligibility worker for San Joaquin County, and what we do is we're in charge of holding the cases for anybody that's getting any kind of assistance, whether it's SNAPs or CalFresh here, which is food stamps, formerly known as. There's CalWorks, which is cash aid, and then there is Medi-Cal, Medicaid in other states. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, there's going to be a program for you. California is different because we're considered a safety net state. I'm not going to get into all that because it's a little bit different, but just know that if you need the help, there's help out there. At the time, we weren't making a lot of money. Our expenses were definitely almost more than what we were making, which is why sometimes I had to take a second job or work overtime or whatever. There is food stamps, and a lot of people like me had a big stigma growing up, like, I don't want to be on welfare. Welfare is like something I don't want to do. Huge stigma behind that. And I'm going to tell you right now, being in the industry now, doing the job, helping people, I personally have seen a couple who had a child at a very young age, just like us. They got on cash aid because they just wanted to keep going to school. They didn't want to work. So that's fine, perfectly okay. They made, a decision to follow going to school. There is a program when you're getting cash aid that's called Welfare to Work, and it assists you in trying to get into the work field. They pay for everything if you're getting cash aid. And when I mean everything, I mean if you need a uniform for an interview, they give you a voucher for that. If you need to go to school, they pay for your school. You need books, they pay for your books. Seriously, they pay 100% of everything. It's not financial aid. This is government assistance or public assistance. And going back to that young couple, they both went to school, both ended up going to community college, all paid for. And again, they never worked this time. He ended up graduating from Delta as a police trainee. So he actually got hired on Stockton PD. She ended up becoming a registered nurse. Crazy story. People don't believe it when I tell them, but I have seen it work for those who take advantage of the program. They sacrifice years of their lives. They had to be on the welfare. Big stigma behind that. But I'm telling you right now, if you can get the help, take it. Because if I could have done it back then, the way I know now how the programs are, we literally would have got paid for being in honors. We graduated with the honor GPA, and they would have paid us for that. We would have had food stamps to help us buy food, so I can use my money to pay for bills for things that we need. Medi-Cal, it's different now than it was then, but we're speaking of right now, and Medi-Cal covers all your insurance, so you have no copays. You don't pay for prescriptions. Getting cash aid, if you qualify for it, because it is a different program in itself, it gives you cash for you. Can't live off of it, but if you're living at home or you're living with friends or family members and they're okay with you not paying a lot of rent, you could get by, because then you're also getting food stamps for food. It would have been a big stress reliever, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was too proud. I told myself we weren't going to do that. It's not for us. And I regret that, because we should have taken advantage of it, and we would have probably been a lot less stress than what we would have been.
And I think it's important that if you are going to nursing school and you're struggling, like, because you have to work and you have to pay bills, that you have to really consider this to be able to help you succeed. Because that's how I succeeded. I succeeded because I didn't have to work, and I had somebody at home who provided for me. He went through his own stresses and stuff, but I didn't feel those stresses because I didn't have to feel them, because he took the brunt of that. But if you are a person who's in that situation where you're trying to go to nursing school and make it, be successful at making a nurse, you have to focus 100% of school. And that's one of my biggest things, is you have to dedicate yourself to school to be able to survive in nursing school. Okay, so another thing that helped me survive nursing school was the fact that I got daycare for my kids. So if you are, if you qualify for daycare, some people get it 100% paid. We actually had to take out student loans to pay for my kids' daycare. but I was like, I have to do it because I have to be able to focus on school. um,
Well, with our situation, luckily in the beginning we had our daycare completely paid for, so we didn't have to come out of pocket. However, once I became into management and had like my own restaurant, I was making more money. We were like just over the limit, so we weren't making a lot of money. As that's what I'm trying to get at too. We weren't like that comfortable, but we were just over the poverty level. With that said, we took out the student loans so we can just pay for daycare. But you have to be able to have that availability because I had to work and I couldn't stay home and watch the kids. So there are many programs out there for government assistance when it comes to daycare. And part of those also work with the combination of the programs that I do at my job. But ask questions because initially we got daycare through the school. It
Yeah.
wasn't through a government program or something. I'm sure they get subsidized, but that's besides the point. It was through the school. Ask questions, get financial aid if you can do it, get grants. And if you have to, I mean, take out student loans.
Yes.
Don't get in debt if you don't have to, but
I mean, unfortunately, that's what we had to do just to keep paying for that daycare because we
yeah.
knew how important it was to have my kids somewhere where I could fully concentrate on school. Somewhere that I wasn't just gonna leave them with anybody, you know. It was the daycare right at the community college that I was going, so I could go check on them and whatnot. So, you know, that's how I was able to survive. I was able to have somebody continuously watch my kids. But thank you, husband.
And that's all
You're
I'm going to contribute.
Great guest.
I was the financial assistance portion, I guess.
You are my financial aid.
Financial aid.
All right, guys. I have one more thing to talk about. I'm gonna let him go because he has to go build me some stuff.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so one last thing I wanted to talk about that really helped me do well in the nursing program and succeed in nursing school was going to the library. I know a lot of people don't talk about it as much because, you know, I guess it's just like whatever works for your study habits. But personally, what helped me was I would take my kids to daycare Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 4:30 or whatever time they were scheduled to go. Even on the days that I didn't have class or that clinical was canceled or lecture was canceled, I would still take them. I would take them and drop them off, and then I would grab my little happy butt. I used to have a rolling backpack, put literally all of my hundreds of nursing books in there, and roll to the library. I would be there from 7 to 3:30. I would pack my lunch and take it with me, and I would just study in the library. And the reason that I did that personally is because I found it very hard to study at home. Like I would take the kids to daycare and then I would come home and then I try to study and then there would be the TV. Oh, let me watch this episode of TV. Or there was the computer because back in my day I didn't have an iPhone or there wasn't any iPhones when I went through nursing school. So literally you would have to log into like MySpace or stuff like that to be on social media. So it was just like too many distractions, or there was a pile of dishes or a pile of laundry. It's like, oh, let me knock this out real quick before I sit down and study. It was just too many distractions at home. So I found that going to the library and locking myself in that environment really helped me focus and be productive of my time and just get it all my studying in and get it done. And then when I would pick up my kids from daycare and we would go home, I could just focus on being mom at home because I knew I got everything done during the school day. So that is one of my biggest tips for you moms, dads who have families, who have kids. It's put yourself in a situation, in an environment where you're going to be able to make the most of your time and study and succeed, so that when you do come home, you're able to balance, and just now become mom and now spend time at home with my kids. So I'm not worried about, I have to go back to write my paper because I spent all day washing dishes or cleaning the house. So yeah, that's my biggest advice. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I graduated nursing school 13 years ago, so I don't know what the tips and the tricks are nowadays to being able to survive nursing school. But for me, basically, those were the simplest things. And I hope you're able to take something away from this video. Message me, comment, whatever you'd like, and I will get back to you and answer all your questions. My husband has so much knowledge on this topic as well, and he kicks himself in the butt every day for not taking the help when we could have. But yeah, just my biggest message to you guys is it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, but once you become a nurse and you have so much flexibility and so many career options and so many different hours to choose from, you're going to be so glad you went through the nursing program. It literally pays off in the long run. And keep doing it, guys. You guys, it's tough and it's hard, but once you do it, you're going to be so thankful, and you're going to have so much more flexibility to do what you want in life. All right, guys, so I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys next time.